How do you go from moving all the way across the world to buying your first home at 25 and looking at second homes? Well, just put a deposit in my second home, should I say, because that's what I did. But it took surviving lockdowns, paying off student loans, getting any part-time job I could get, to then starting a business in my bedroom. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from before I moved to New Zealand. Before I moved to New Zealand, I was a student at Berkeley, and I was also working full-time. I was a training manager at Panera. If you're from the States, you know Panera bread. Love it. Well, love the food. I was making a pretty good income for my age and living with my parents, so my expenses were pretty low, and I was honestly spending money as and when I pleased. So before I moved to New Zealand, I saved up about $10,000 because I knew I wasn't gonna have a job. But little did I know that I was gonna move here and COVID was gonna hit. It was fine at the time because I literally just moved here and I had enough savings and I couldn't really go out, so all my money really just went towards food. But at this point, there was no cafe jobs I could really apply for, any realty jobs, because people were laying those people off because they didn't know when they were going to open up again. So finding a job wasn't really in the cards for me during COVID. I just lived on my savings for this point in time. Later in 2020, things started to open up in New Zealand, and New Zealand was this like kind of own bubble where everywhere else was locked down, but New Zealand was open and for business. If you had a vaccine, you had to have a QR code and scan it any place you went. So if there was a breakout, then you could get notified that you were in a place that a breakout was. Other than that, you could basically come and go as you please. So this is when I started looking for a job. An easy casual job that I could get was at Eden Park, catering. I did a catering job at Eden Park where I was a steward, like a suite steward. And so whenever people would book out those like VIP rooms, I would be serving their drinks or food or whatever they needed. It was a relatively easy but physical job. Was not my favorite. We also did like events, and it was casual. And if you guys don't know what casual is, if you're from the States and you don't really know what casual is, it just means that you don't have set hours. It's just based on how much work they have. And usually the job sends you a text at the beginning of the week saying these are the hours we have. Whoever messages them first for those hours gets it, basically. I remember being a server at a graduation for King's College, and I remember being like, wow, these people are rich. Anyway, that was one of the jobs that I did. It wasn't like a really consistent income. I also was doing background acting or extra work. And if you don't know what that is, you can get scouted or sign up to these agencies. Movies and TV shows will go to the agency and say, hey, we need some people of this demographic. When you go on movie set or the TV set, you're just in the background acting like however they tell you. I was background acting in shows like Shortland Street and Power Rangers. I was a stand-in for the most recent Lord of the Rings series, but a stand-in is not actually being filmed. They're just there to help with the blocking and the lighting. Can't like look up that show and see me anywhere. But stand-ins actually get a little bit more than the extras do, so I didn't mind, and they get treated a little bit better. These two jobs like helped me meet new people, which was nice. They were really irregular. Some months I would have a lot of extra jobs and some months I wouldn't. And so the money that was coming in was really irregular. Also, I want to note that I was on the student loan program, student allowance, which is in New Zealand. Student allowance is where when you're a student and you're a full-time student, the government will send you money every week, but you do have to pay it back. So I was getting, I think, $200 a week, and that would pay for my rent, and then the rest would just be all me, or I would just ask my parents for money, but I hated asking them for money. Yeah, at this point I was really broke. Just trying to get by and just figuring things out. I didn't know what I really wanted to do at this point. Fast forward, I think either sometime in 2021 there was another lockdown in New Zealand. It was in Auckland, of course, only Auckland. The reason why it's only in Auckland is because the international airport is in Auckland, and so they would shut down Auckland when there was a breakout, but the rest of the country would just be living normal lives. I would be so jealous at these times. I distinctly remember that during one of the lockdowns, because there were multiple lockdowns, I was kind of like getting on the side of social media of just making your own money from home. I wanted something a lot more consistent because the money that I was bringing in now was really like touch and go. And I saw people were making money consulting people on their social media. I started getting into TikTok. I already kind of really liked social media because I grew my Instagram following. During the COVID time, TikTok was starting to get really popular, and so I started just posting on TikTok and stuff, and I was able to grow that following up to, I think, like 12,000 at this point. And I was like, wow, if I could do this with my social media, I wonder if I could get paid to do this for someone else's social media. So that's when I started looking into maybe being a social media manager, because I was chronically on my phone, I knew all the trends. I thought that if I can do this for myself, I could probably do it for another brand and get paid for it. So I started looking into how people do it, how do you become a social media manager, and they all talk about just, once you find the client, just make your pricing plan or a retainer for 3 months and then you're off. This is when I started my social media marketing business. It was like freelancing basically. I started freelancing. I found most of my clients on Facebook, and at this point in time, because of COVID, a lot of people were looking into social media and like growing their social media because people were so chronically online. And it was kind of like a perfect storm. I started off doing free consultations because I didn't have any like experience other than my own social media that I had done experiments on. I wanted to grow my reviews, so I started doing free consultations. There was no strings attached. I would just ask them to do a review after to say if it was valuable or not. Every single time they thought it was valuable, so that would then be on my business Facebook page that, hey, we did a free consultation, she's really knowledgeable, I got this and this out of it, highly recommend. And I got like 5 to 7 reviews. I started getting some clients that actually paid. Like, so my main client actually reached out to me from my TikTok, and they thought that I would be a good person for them. We met up and we said, let's do this dang thing. Let's do the dang thing. Basically, we started off with just 1 month. We committed to 1 month. I went to her house. I taught her how to use the TikTok app. So how we did it was I would come up with all these like video and content ideas. She would pick what she's comfortable doing and what reflected her business in the most professional but fun way. And she would film it, and then I would edit and post it. So it was just me and her against the world. I was able to grow her social media to over 100,000 TikTok followers within 3 months. I think it was less than 3 months, to be honest. Our first video that we posted went viral. It hit like 3 million views. Literally one of the first videos that we posted. So it was like up and up ever since. I didn't work with her very long. It was probably 3 months. I created some of the content pillars that she still uses today. Ultimately, she felt like she could do it on her own, so I was like, cool, it's fine, I can put this on my resume, and we parted ways. I think I've had like one-off consults that were paid. So I got all the numbers and analytics from this job, put that into my cover letter and my resume. I started looking at content creator jobs because I knew I could do it. I ended up landing a job at a small company here in New Zealand that was actually really close to where I lived, which was perfect. They understood I was a student, because keep in mind I'm still a student during this time, guys. So I was doing the freelancing and everything while doing my studies on the side. So still a student at this point, but I was able to land a full-time job in a corporate company. I was so happy. I knew that this would be great for my resume when I did graduate. I just wanted to get some work experience, and that's exactly what I did. I did the same thing for them. They needed someone to grow their TikTok, and I helped them grow their TikTok to 135K. We had some fun viral videos that really helped us get us there. It was quite fun working there. So I stayed there for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Around the time I was about to graduate, I was feeling like I wanted some more growth in my job, and I couldn't really see it. I felt like I had learned everything I needed to learn at that job. I wanted a pretty big raise that I knew was going to be hard to get at my current job since it was a small company. That's when I started applying to bigger corporations, hoping to get a way bigger salary than what I was at. And yes, I was able to land at one of the biggest corporations here in New Zealand and almost double my salary from what it was before. And that's the job I'm currently still at. And so I'm a digital media lead, still doing social media, but a little bit different in such a big corporation. But I'm learning so many great things. So yeah, I was able to almost double my salary and land myself into the financial position that I am today. I want to say some tips on like what helped me going on my journey, and if anyone else is trying to just get a higher salary or land a job, keep going, don't give up. If you are at uni, like at AUT, have an employability lab, go there. I went to the employability lab at AUT for free. You can practice interviewing. They will look at your CV, they will look at your cover letter. Moving to New Zealand, I didn't know that you needed a cover letter. Back in the States, cover letters are just thrown away, no one actually reads them, but here in New Zealand, they read cover letters. So I was like, okay, I actually need to customize this for every job and make sure I put my statistics and everything that you wouldn't put into your CV. It just gives a little bit more color to your CV. When I say CV, I mean resume for my people in the States. Once I went to the employability lab and changed my resume and my cover letter, I started hearing back from people. And also a lot of the times, like corporations, if you have no experience, they're not going to give you that chance. So you have to kind of make your own chance. That's what I was thinking in my head. I don't have experience, then how can I get experience? I'm a very goal-oriented person, so I'm still working to grow my life, my finances. So yeah, that's how I got into the financial position that I am today at 25. Moved here to New Zealand 5 years ago, and I'm still trying to grow. If you're interested in the full story of how I bought a house at 25, that's gonna be the next video.